The dawn rose quietly over the misty valleys of Montana. The first rays of sunlight painted the sky in soft gold, kissing the tips of pine trees that stretched endlessly toward heaven. The air smelled of rain and earth, and a calm river wound its way through the silent forest, like a ribbon of glass gliding between mountains. Jake Turner, a rugged man in his 40s with sunburned skin and tired eyes, pulled his old truck to the edge of a gravel road. He worked for the state's Wildlife Rescue Center, a man who had seen every kind of broken creature: wolves trapped in fences, deer struck by cars, owls with burnt wings. But lately, his heart had been heavy. 2 months ago, he'd lost his teenage son, Noah, in a climbing accident near Glacier Peak. The boy had been everything: his laughter, his reason to keep going. Since that day, Jake spoke less, smiled less, and drove into the wild as if chasing ghosts through the trees. That morning, as the wind stirred the branches, a call came through the radio on his passenger seat. "Turner, we've got a situation near Black Ridge," said the voice of his supervisor, Karen. "Local hiker reports an injured bald eagle stuck near the canyon edge. Looks like a juvenile." Jake glanced out the window. The horizon shimmered. "Copy that. I'm close by. I'll take it." He started the engine again. The truck rumbled forward, gravel crunching beneath its wheels. For Jake, bald eagles had always meant something special. His son had loved them, especially one they used to watch near the lake. "Dad," Noah would say, eyes wide, "that bird looks like it owns the sky." And Jake would laugh. "He does, buddy. He really does." The memory pressed at his chest like a bruise. The road narrowed as he climbed toward Black Ridge. Pine needles brushed the windshield, and the sound of the river faded to a distant hum. When he finally stopped, he could see the vast canyon spreading beneath him, deep, cold, and alive with the whisper of wind. Jake grabbed his rescue kit and started hiking. The path was steep, slick with dew. Every step crunched against the gravel. He could hear a faint sound, a cry, weak but sharp, echoing through the canyon walls. He followed the sound, stepping carefully around loose rocks. And then he saw it. A young bald eagle, feathers matted, wing twisted unnaturally, trapped between two boulders near the edge of a drop so sheer it made his stomach turn. The bird was struggling, its sharp eyes flashing with fear and pain. Hey, easy, little one," Jake whispered. He crouched down, setting his bag beside him. "I'm here to help you." The eagle screeched, trying to flap its wings, but one refused to move. The other flapped weakly, scraping against stone. Jake took a slow breath. "You're a fighter, huh?" He reached out his hands slowly, speaking softly, the way he used to talk to frightened animals and his own son when storms scared him. "Shush. I know it hurts. I got you." He wrapped the bird gently in a thick towel. The eagle struggled, then stilled, as if sensing something: trust, or maybe just exhaustion. Jake lifted it into his arms, careful not to jolt the broken wing. When he turned to climb back, the wind picked up, howling through the cliffs. The ground trembled slightly, small stones rolling toward the edge. Jake froze. The path behind him was narrower than he remembered. One wrong step and he'd follow the same fate as his boy, down the unforgiving drop. "Not today," he muttered. He clutched the eagle tighter and began moving slowly, step by step. The wind roared louder. At one point, a chunk of rock gave way under his boot. He slipped, his knees slamming against stone. The eagle shrieked, wings flaring. "Hold on," Jake gasped, grabbing onto a root jutting out from the cliffside. His breath came in short bursts. The pain in his leg burned, but he didn't let go. Inch by inch, he pulled himself and the bird back to solid ground. When they reached the top, Jake fell to his knees, panting. The eagle blinked up at him, fierce, trembling, alive. He smiled weakly. "You and me, kid, both a little broken." He wrapped the eagle carefully and carried it back to the truck. Rain began to drizzle. Soft, cold, cleansing. Dash. At the rescue center, Jake worked late into the night. The small operating room smelled of antiseptic and damp feathers. Karen stood beside him, handing tools as he worked. How bad? She asked quietly. Compound fracture, Jake said. But I think we can fix it. He's young, strong. They splintered the wing, stitched small wounds, and set the bird gently into a warm recovery crate. When the eagle was finally safe, Jake sat beside it, exhaustion written across his face. The rain tapped softly against the windows. Karen placed a hand on his shoulder. You did good, Jake. He nodded slowly. He reminds me of Noah. Karen's eyes softened. Because he's brave. Jake looked at the small creature breathing steadily in its crate. Because he's still fighting, even after falling. Dash. Days passed. The eagle's name became Hope. A suggestion from one of the young volunteers who said the bird's eyes looked like they still had sky in them. Jake came every day. He fed Hope small fish pieces, cleaned her feathers, talked to her quietly while the others had gone home. Sometimes he'd whisper, "You're gonna fly again, little one. I promise." One morning, as he was checking Hope's bandages, he noticed something strange. The eagle lifted her head and made a sharp sound, a high cry that filled the room. Her good wings stretched wide. Jake smiled. That's it, girl. Show me that spirit. He took her outside to a small enclosure surrounded by netting. The sun was warm, the sky a deep endless blue. Hope tilted her head, staring up. For the first time, she flapped both wings, unsteady, trembling, but strong. Jake laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in months. You're getting there. Then he whispered something almost like a prayer. Maybe we both are. Dash. Weeks turned into months. Hope healed faster than anyone expected. Her feathers grew thick and glossy, her eyes sharp as glass. Jake grew too. The hollow inside him began to fill, not with the absence of Noah, but with something softer. Acceptance. Maybe even peace. He started volunteering to teach school kids about wildlife again, just as he and Noah once did. He brought Hope with him, resting on his gloved hand, wings slightly spread. The children's faces lit up. Is she going to fly again? One little girl asked. Jake smiled. Yes, very soon. Dash. The day of Hope's release came in early spring. The rescue team gathered at the ridge where Jake had first found her, the same cliff that had almost taken them both. The valley below shimmered with sunlight, rivers glinting like silver veins through the forest. Karen stood beside him. You ready? Jake nodded. Yeah, she's ready. He opened the carrier door. Hope stepped out slowly, eyes scanning the open sky. The wind lifted her feathers. For a moment, she hesitated, as if remembering pain, the fear of falling. Jake whispered, "You can do this. You were born for this." He raised his arm slightly, and Hope spread her wings. Then, she leapt. The air caught her instantly. Her wings beat once, twice, and she soared. Higher and higher, circling the ridge. Free. Jake felt tears fill his eyes. Karen watched silently. Beautiful. He nodded, voice trembling. She found her sky again. As Hope disappeared into the golden horizon, Jake felt something shift, deep inside. He turned his face upward, whispering softly into the wind. You see that, Noah? She made it. The breeze stirred gently, brushing against his cheek like a small, invisible touch. And for a heartbeat, he thought he heard a familiar laugh in the wind, faint, bright, and full of life. Jake smiled through his tears. Yeah, buddy, he whispered. We both did. Dash. That evening, as the sun sank behind the mountains, a single bald eagle circled above Jake's cabin. Its cry echoed across the valley, wild and triumphant. Jake stepped outside, watching as the bird glided effortlessly across the pink sky. Hope had come back. Just once, it seemed, to say goodbye. He raised his hand, heart steady. Fly high, girl, he murmured. For both of us. The eagle soared higher until it was just a speck against the dying light, a symbol of freedom, of healing, of second chances. And for the first time since losing his son, Jake didn't feel broken anymore. He felt whole. Because sometimes, saving one small life can bring your own heart back to life too.